My name is Eleanor Brennan, and I was 69 years old when my daughter left me a voice message telling me I was no longer welcome at her wedding. Her name is Nicole. I had saved her contact years ago with a heart emoji I never bothered to remove. The story you are about to hear is a work of fiction created to convey lessons about family, emotions, and human values. All characters and events are illustrative. The message was short. Nicole's voice sounded steady, practiced, like she had rehearsed it in her car before pressing send. "Mom, I need you to understand this isn't personal," she said. "It's just easier if you don't come to the wedding. And please don't bring that kid anymore. It makes people uncomfortable." That kid. My grandson, Tyler, 7 years old, polite, quiet, the kind of child who asks permission before speaking. I didn't sit down. I didn't pace. I didn't cry. I replayed the message once more just to be sure I hadn't imagined the casual way she dismissed both me and him in the same breath. I thought about calling her back. I thought about asking what I had done wrong. I thought about reminding her who paid for her braces, her first apartment, her graduate school tuition when her father walked away. Instead, I opened the text thread. I typed one word. Noted. I watched the words sit there, small and final. Then I locked my phone and placed it face down on the table as if it could still say something else if I let it. An hour later, I made a phone call. "Good afternoon. This is Eleanor Brennan," I said when the bank representative answered. My voice didn't shake. "I need to confirm my authority on an account opened for my daughter's wedding." There was a pause while she pulled it up. "Yes, Mrs. Brennan," she said. "You are the primary holder." "Good," I replied. "Then I'd like to make a change." I didn't explain why. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't ask for permission. Everything I did that day was quiet, legal, deliberate. When I hung up, my hands were still steady. That surprised me more than the message itself. By the time the sun went down, nothing looked different yet, but something had already shifted. The pattern of independence. After my husband died, people assumed I would disappear into quiet usefulness. I didn't. I kept working. I kept my routines. I kept my savings careful and my expectations smaller than they should have been. Nicole noticed that. She always had. "You're very independent for your age," she used to say, smiling in that way that sounded like praise, but felt like a warning. Independent meant I didn't need much. Independent meant I didn't ask questions. Independent meant I could be included when it was convenient and ignored when it wasn't. Tyler complicated that balance. The first time Nicole hinted at it, we were at lunch. Tyler had asked the server for extra napkins because he liked to keep his hands clean. "He's a little much," Nicole said quietly, not looking at me. "You don't have to bring him everywhere." I told her he was just a child. "I know," she replied. "I just mean not everywhere." After that, the comments softened but never stopped. People stare. "He asks too many questions. He makes things awkward." Each time she said it like advice. Each time I swallowed the urge to argue. I told myself she was stressed, that Savannah was particular, that she was trying to protect him from judgment, not participate in it. At gatherings, Nicole would lean in and whisper, "Maybe let him stay close to you," as if his presence needed containment. At dinners with her friends, she'd say, "Let's not bring him tonight. It's more adult." One evening, I told her it hurt. She sighed. "Mom, you're taking it personally. This is just how things are here." Here meant Savannah. Old families. Quiet rules. Perfect surfaces. A city that smiled politely while measuring you. I learned my place quickly. I was helpful. I paid when asked. I watched Tyler when Nicole needed space. I stayed silent when silence kept doors open. Belonging, I told myself, was worth restraint. That belief lasted until the message. The proposal. Nicole called me on a Tuesday afternoon, her voice bright in a way I recognized as practiced. "He proposed," she said. "James did it properly. Ring, dinner, everything." I congratulated her. I meant it. James Hartford had always been polite to me, careful with his words, attentive in the way men are when they know someone is watching. "We're thinking Savannah Cathedral," Nicole continued, not pausing. "Reception at the Montgomery House. It's what people expect.
People.
The word landed with weight. At dinner a few nights later, James smiled across the table. We want it to feel timeless, he said. Not flashy, just correct. Nicole nodded. Elegant, traditional. No one said the word money. They didn't have to. My financial situation wasn't a secret. I had worked my entire life. I invested carefully. I paid cash when I could. I never bragged. But in a city like Savannah, restraint still gets noticed. Nicole reached for her wine. We'll need help, she said lightly. Just with the big things. I asked what she meant. The venue, she replied. The dress, deposits, it adds up. I told her I could contribute a fixed amount. I named a number I could afford without resentment. She smiled, relieved, and leaned over to squeeze my hand. That's generous, Mom. The next email arrived the following morning. A wedding account had already been opened in my name. For convenience, Nicole said when I called her. So everything's clean, she added. Transparent. James chimed in on speakerphone. It just makes sense. You're organized. I hesitated. I'll transfer the amount I agreed to, I said. Nothing more. Of course, Nicole replied quickly. We wouldn't expect anything else. The boundary moves. The first transfers were small, deposits, planning fees, numbers that stayed within the boundary I'd set. Then the invoices started coming without warning. Dress fitting, floral hold, venue confirmation. No one asked before they appeared. No one checked before they assumed. Each time I brought it up, Nicole brushed it aside. It's temporary, she said. We'll reconcile everything later. Later never arrived. What did arrive was a sense that my limits had become optional. And in Savannah, I was learning, assumption often wears the mask of entitlement. I wasn't looking for trouble the first time I checked the account. I was balancing my own bills, moving money where it needed to go. When I noticed the wedding balance was lower than I expected, I opened the details. One withdrawal, then another. They weren't enormous, but they weren't what we had discussed either. I called Nicole. It's probably just timing, she said immediately, like she'd been waiting for the question. Vendors require staggered payments. It's all logistics. Those numbers weren't in the plan we talked about, I said.
She sighed.
Mom, this is how weddings work. You said you wanted to help. I said I would contribute a set amount. And you are, she replied. It just doesn't land all at once. I let it go. That was my mistake. A week later, I checked again. More withdrawals, different vendors, charges I didn't recognize. I texted her. Can you explain these? Her reply came fast. James handled that. It's fine. When I asked James directly, he sounded uncomfortable. Nicole said it was okay, he told me. She said you wanted it done efficiently. That word again, efficient. At dinner that weekend, I brought it up carefully. I just need to understand what's being paid from that account, I said. Nicole smiled without warmth. You don't have to micromanage everything, Mom. I'm not micromanaging. It's my name on the account. Her jaw tightened. Why are you making this difficult? That was new. The shift from reassurance to irritation. I just want clarity, I said. We're under a lot of stress, she replied. This is supposed to be a happy time. The conversation ended there. Not resolved, just sealed shut. Later that night, I reviewed the statements again. The pattern was clearer now. Each time I stayed quiet, the boundary moved. Each time I hesitated, the assumption grew. I didn't confront her again. I didn't warn her. I didn't accuse anyone of anything. I watched, and I realized this wasn't about miscommunication. It was about how far they thought they could go before I stopped them. The car. I found the payment late at night when the house was quiet enough that numbers felt louder than they should. One line stood out from the rest. Larger, cleaner, unmistakable. A dealership. A single charge that swallowed a portion of the account I hadn't authorized anyone to touch. I stared at it for a long time before calling Nicole. She answered on the second ring. Hey, Mom. There's a charge from a car dealership, I said. I kept my voice even. Explain that to me. There was a pause. Not long, just long enough. Oh, she said. That. I repeated. James's voice came through the speaker, cautious. We needed something reliable, he said. With the wedding and everything. With my money, I said. Nicole exhaled sharply. It's temporary. We'll cover it later. You didn't ask, I said. We didn't think we had to, she replied. You're helping us start our life. That money was for the wedding, I said. Not a car. It's all connected, Nicole said, irritation bleeding through now. You're acting like we stole from you. You took it without permission, I said. She laughed once, short and sharp. That's dramatic. I felt something break then. Not loudly, not all at once. Just enough to change the shape of things. I set limits, I said. You agreed to them. And then things changed, she replied. That's what happens. James tried to soften it. We assumed you'd understand. Understand. The word settled between us like a verdict. I need that money returned, I said. Nicole's tone hardened. You can't do that now. Everything's already planned. I didn't plan a car, I said. Silence followed. Then Nicole spoke, slower this time. You have more than enough, she said. Why are you being so difficult? That was the moment it became clear. The money wasn't viewed as mine anymore. It was a resource they had already claimed, a safety net they believed would always be there. When the call ended, I didn't feel angry the way I expected to. I felt resolved. They had crossed a line they didn't believe existed. I let them keep believing that for a little while longer. The transfer. I waited until the next morning, not because I was unsure, but because I wanted my voice to be steady when I spoke. I dialed the bank and listened to the familiar menu without impatience. Good morning, the representative said. How can I help you? My name is Eleanor Brennan, I replied. I'm calling about an account opened for a wedding. There was a brief pause as she verified my information. I answered the security questions without hesitation. When she finished, her tone shifted, professional, careful. You are the primary holder, she confirmed. All disbursements require your consent. I'd like to review recent activity, I said. She read the transactions aloud. Venue deposits, planning fees, the dealership charge. Hearing it spoken made it sound heavier, more deliberate. That last one wasn't authorized, I said. I see, she replied. Would you like to place a hold? No, I said. I'd like to transfer the remaining balance back to my personal account. She explained the process, the timelines, the confirmation steps. Nothing about it was dramatic. Nothing about it felt rushed. Is this permitted? I asked, though I already knew the answer. Yes, Mrs. Brennan, she said. It's your account. Then please proceed. She did, quietly, efficiently. When she finished, she asked if there was anything else. No, I said. That will be all. I ended the call and sat for a moment, waiting for something to happen inside me. A surge of anger, a flicker of doubt. Neither came. I made breakfast for Tyler. He asked if he could have cereal instead of eggs. Of course, I said. He smiled and told me about a drawing he wanted to finish after school, a house with a fence, a tree out front. He spoke with certainty, like he already knew where he belonged. By the next morning, relatives I hadn't spoken to in years were checking in. Their questions were careful, dressed as concern. I heard something about a banking mix-up. Is everything all right with the wedding? No one asked about Tyler. No one mentioned the message. By afternoon, the tone shifted. James's parents requested a call. Patricia Hartford spoke first, measured but firm. We're trying to understand what happened, she said. We were told funds were withdrawn without warning. They were never James's to begin with, I replied. Silence followed. And the car? Robert Hartford asked quietly. That wasn't for the wedding, I said. Another pause. Longer this time. Patricia cleared her throat. We'd like to review the arrangements. That was when I knew the story Nicole had been telling was starting to crack. Savannah doesn't explode when something goes wrong. It whispers. It tilts its head. It waits. By evening, Nicole called one last time. This didn't have to go this far, she said. I thought of Tyler, of the words she used. It went exactly as far as it needed to, I replied.
She didn't call again that night.
The restructuring. The plans didn't collapse all at once. They shrank. Nicole called me 2 nights later, her voice tight with control. We're changing venues, she said. Something more intimate. How intimate? I asked. She hesitated. 30 people. The cathedral was gone. The Montgomery house was gone. Vendors who had answered her emails with enthusiasm now replied with policies and deadlines. James tried to sound reassuring when he spoke to me. It's temporary, he said. Once everything settles. Once what settles? I asked. He didn't answer. The call from his parents came the following afternoon. Patricia Hartford spoke carefully, as if choosing each word cost her something. We've reviewed the accounts, she said, including the wedding trust. I listened. We asked to see the message, she continued. The one that started this. There was a pause. Then she read it aloud. Nicole's words unchanged. The phrase "that kid" sounded heavier when spoken by someone else. Robert Hartford cleared his throat. That message raised concerns, he said.
About what?
I asked. Judgment, he said. And boundaries. Patricia took over. We've decided the trust needs restructuring. Effective immediately. Nicole's voice cut in sharp. You can't do that. We can, Patricia replied. And we have.
I heard the shift then.
Not anger.
Fear.
The funds will be overseen, Patricia continued. Disbursements will require approval. That's humiliating, Nicole said. No, Patricia replied. It's prudent. After the call ended, James stayed on the line. He sounded tired. They think this will protect us, he said. From what? I asked. He didn't say my name. He didn't say Nicole's. He didn't say Tyler's. The wedding went forward on the original date, but it felt like a formality rather than a celebration. Nicole sent one final message the night before. I hope you're happy. I didn't respond. James married her the next morning, knowing his finances were no longer his alone. Nicole walked down the aisle knowing her choices had been reviewed, corrected, and contained. Appearances were preserved, but control had changed hands. And for the first time, it wasn't mine to give back. The day of. The wedding went on without me. Nicole didn't send an invitation, and I didn't ask for one. Patricia Hartford called 2 days before, her tone careful. We wanted you to know it will be small, she said. Family only. I understand, I replied. And I did. On the morning of the ceremony, I took Tyler out for ice cream. It was early, quiet. He chose vanilla with sprinkles and watched me like he was waiting for permission to enjoy it. Are we supposed to be somewhere else today? He asked. No, I said. We're exactly where we need to be. He nodded, satisfied, and told me about a drawing he wanted to hang in his room. A house with a fence, a tree in front. He talked about it like it already existed. Later that afternoon, my phone buzzed once. A message from Nicole. No greeting. They restructured everything. I can't touch the accounts without approval. I read it twice. There was no apology. No mention of the message she sent. No acknowledgement of Tyler. This didn't have to happen, she added. I typed back slowly. What didn't have to happen was treating a child like an inconvenience. She didn't respond. That evening, after Tyler went to bed, I sat alone and thought about the last few months. Not the money. The patterns. The silence I'd mistaken for peace. The belief that enduring discomfort was the same as loving someone. The truth. Here's the truth I learned, and I'll say it plainly because it matters. Boundaries are not punishments. They are the cost of staying whole. If someone only values you when you are useful, they don't value you at all. And protecting a child is never negotiable.
Nicole lost control that week.
Not because I took something from her, but because she showed who she was when she thought she had leverage. I kept what mattered. If this story resonates with you, if you've ever been expected to stay quiet to keep the peace, you're not alone, even when it feels that way. I turned off my phone and went to check on Tyler. He was asleep, one arm flung across the pillow. Safe. Some things can be frozen by a bank. Dignity isn't one of them. If protecting your dignity cost you a relationship, was it ever really worth keeping?